Hi everyone, I'm Miss M, and right now in this video we are going to talk about animal and childhood ethics. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to tell you that knowing the studies that have to deal with animals, okay, so Pepperberg and Yamamoto, and knowing the studies that have to do with children, specifically Bandura, those studies, you really need to understand those, because if they ask any questions that deal with animals or children, it's definitely going to be one of the studies, and it's very possible you're going to have to evaluate the study for one of those. Okay, so let's get into what the use of children in psychological research. Now, we already know the general ethics of informed consent, confidentiality, do no harm, debriefing, deception. We know that whole shebang, right? You know that whole shebang. If not, I'm gonna have to make another video on it. But for now, understanding that when we are using children, any child under the age of 16 needs informed consent. Some states, some places in the world might be different, but according to this Cambridge books and whatnot, the age is 16. So if anyone is studying children under the age of 16, they need informed consent from their parents. Or, you know, someone who looks after them, not like in Bandura, where Bandura just went to the nursery where our participants were and asked the teacher if he could perform the experiment. Now, you know, that's kind of crazy because of the type of study that it was. It was on aggression. So we're basically teaching children how to be aggressive, and we're not getting the informed consent of the parents. And think about their development, okay? We have to think about developmental issues and things like that. So what I'm going to read you in this card here is I have the strengths and the weaknesses associated with childhood ethics and using children in studies versus using adults, okay? So a child represents the most important and formative period of human development. So basically, by using children, we can kind of scientifically figure out and psychologically figure out different milestones, because as children we are hitting milestones more regularly, and change is occurring more rapidly than when we reach adulthood. Okay, then we change less after the age of 18, basically. Okay, so there's this rapid growth with children from the age 0 to 18, and studying that is beneficial to psychology and science, basically. So by understanding children's thoughts and behaviors, it might help us to understand adults' thoughts and behaviors. So what does this mean? If we can understand how children's minds work early on, and we can study them over long periods of time, then we are understanding how adults' minds are formed, how their thoughts are formed, how their habits are formed, how their foundations formed, how they act, why they think the way they do. Okay? And this all really, you know, this goes back to being able to study and show developmental trends over time. Okay? And that is a very positive when we are using children. Now, a weakness of using children in psychological research is that children might not understand the task, or it might be too complex. Like the language might be too complex, or the experimenter, who is probably highly educated, might speak in a complex way. So children may not understand what is being asked of them, or they might not understand the instructions or the language, and therefore their behavior is going to be a little awkward or abnormal compared to if the language was that of that child's vocabulary. So maybe that's something to keep in mind with researchers for, you know, future research, actually. This last weakness that I had for using children is children under 16 cannot give informed consent, and if debriefed, they might be too young to understand, leaving them more prone to harm and long-term effects. So, you know, a lot of the research that we do on children is, I mean, it's not information that children are going to necessarily understand. We are creating this research to understand very in-depth psychological milestones and things that occur that children have no recollection of. They don't even understand. They're still thinking about the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, okay? They don't understand this stuff. So it very much so, you never know, it could cause trauma, okay? Any instance where someone feels out of place or they are frightened or scared or something happens, it could cause trauma. I mean, think about Bandura. There's a kid picks up a pistol and pretends to shoot the Bobo doll. Okay, pistol whips the Bobo doll. All right, so there was some violence going on. It's very possible in Bandura that we would have caused that, but we'll never know because we didn't get informed consent and therefore we couldn't debrief, right? Okay, now, animals, use of animals. Now, there are different ethical guidelines when it comes to animals. So, the law, psychologists must work within the law about protecting animals. So, this has to do with like the number of animals used in a study. So, you're not like going out and saying like, oh, I need 1,000 kittens for this experiment. Okay, if you can get away with using 4, then use 4. Okay, if you propose to Animal Research Institute, wherever, you know, the animal rights are for psychological research in your area, if you go to them and you tell them you need that many animals or that many chimpanzees, they're probably going to deny you. So the number of animals that you use is important. You want to use the least amount as possible. Social environment. If you have animals that are social beings, like primates, you cannot keep them isolated. And if you have animals that like to be isolated right now, I don't know any off the top of my head. I don't know, maybe a rooster. I don't know. If you have animals that are solo and you are keeping them in you know, social settings and that's causing aggression or they're fighting or something like that, then that is doing harm. So you need to understand and recognize the social environment of the natural social environment of that animal and make sure that you're replicating it while they are hanging out and waiting to be used in the study. The last one I'm going to talk about is caging, and this kind of has to do with food too. So you know, the housing in the cages should be adequate for their size. They shouldn't be overcrowded. They shouldn't be kept in cages all day long. They shouldn't be deprived of sunlight. They shouldn't be deprived of food or water unless it is important for the study, okay? Because if you're using food as a reward, you don't necessarily want to saturate the animal with food prior, then food is not going to work as a reinforcement in the study. Okay, so you want to provide, you know, adequate amount of food and water. You know, it's not about depriving the animal all day. So, because, you know, if you deprive the animal all day, they'll do anything for food, right? Maybe do the experiment during breakfast or during their dinner time or something like that. Okay, so we have our studies are Pepperberg and Yamamoto. Now, Pepperberg was a single parrot named Alex, and he lived in his cage, and he, you know, they are social animals. He didn't necessarily have another bird with him, but he was around people all the time. And I mean, he did pass away, but he was really old. He was an old bird. He lived for a long time. So, I mean, his passing had nothing to do with the study at all. So the ethics of that study were sound. Now, Yamamoto, you know, the primates were kept with their mother and baby pairs. So they were comfortable, they were social, they were fed, and the Animal Institute of Kyoto, Japan actually were the ones who gave permission for this study. Okay, so just know those animal ethics and be able to evaluate them for those specific studies. Okay, good luck on your psych exam and good luck studying, guys.